Welcome back to
Hello.
Still Not Over It. I'm still CM, and that's still Shelby. And today we're not over unknown number.
A high school story, something
Is it?
along
Does it
those
say
lines.
catfish in the title, like a high school catfish?
It might be a high school catfish story.
Something like that. But that's what we're still not over. And if you've seen it, you probably are also not over it. Not something one moves on from quickly. And I do want to say because the Sweet Bobby episode was so explosive for us, and like it was so like I was so passionate about it, and I really truly thought that it could never get worse than what happened in Sweet Bobby. I will say that despite me like having spent a ton of time thinking about Sweet Bobby, this one even threw more of a surprising loop than and I thought after Sweet Bobby that I would be like ready for anything. Turns out I wasn't. So
Yeah, I agree. I definitely felt like Sweet Bobby would have prepared me. Even watching this one along the way, I felt myself looking for clues that I'd missed while watching Sweet Bobby. And so I thought, I'll be able to use my skills as like a decoder, and I'll catch this catfish before everybody else because honestly I hadn't heard anything about it. It was just on the Netflix homepage and it
mhm.
looked enticing, so
I
we
had a
watched
friend
it.
tell me that was like, you have to watch it. And I was like, why? What happened? They were like, I'm not telling you, but you have to watch it. And I was like, all right, say less.
This is one that I do think a spoiler would be really detrimental to watching it. I won't say that it would make it not worth it. I definitely still think you can know the big surprise and still be like, wait,
All of this is to
what?
say that if you haven't seen it yet and you hate spoilers, this is not the podcast episode for you to listen to. But once you do see it and need to have a kiki about it, and you will, you can come back to us.
Absolutely. So, as the title suggests, we have high schoolers. We first meet Owen and Lauren. They are, I think it's at the time that this is filmed, they're probably out of high school freshly, but the whole thing takes place while they're in high school. So,
Right.
you
We
know,
meet them when they're 14, right?
they
I
could be
believe
14. I think they're 12,
I
actually,
think
aren't they?
they start date we meet them at 14 and they've already been dating for 2 years. So they started
Is
dating
that
when
what it is? Because I
yeah.
remember Lauren's dad makes some crack. Aren't you a little young to have a boyfriend? And the
Yeah.
parents really emphasize that their foundation is sports and friendship
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because
trick-or-treating and bonfires.
my first note is a serious relationship at 14 is crazy. And then the next note is a 2 year relationship already at 14. So yeah.
My first note is Owen loves me, not yo ugly ass. And I wrote it just like the text is written. So it has me with three E's, and that is the first text message. Obviously, CM and I were like, so Pretty Little Liars coded.
Oh
And one
yeah.
thing that's really satisfying about this is a lot of the questions that we had and that most viewers had while watching Pretty Little Liars is why didn't the girls do this? Why didn't the girls do that? They should have gotten the police involved. They should have, if they had done this, the stalker would have been caught way
Yeah.
sooner. A lot of those actions are taken in this doc, and so it's just
Oh yeah.
really soothing to your brain to see someone be so competent.
Yeah, not only do like the girls tell their parents, which is huge, their parents are also like really on them. Another first note I had, I just want to quickly say is I loved that Owen said, "Boys don't have drama. We just play sports and have fun, and that's all." I thought that was such. I was like, I
That
know that's
killed
right. I
me.
was like, I know that's right, Owen. Tell him.
That killed me because his parents and also Lauren's parents, they're both asking, that they live in a very small town. The whole class, like the senior class is like 30 kids in the whole grade. And so their parents are asking, who could do this? Who dislikes you enough to send you messages like that? Because it's a group chat with Owen, Lauren, and this person. Um, and they're sending messages about how Owen doesn't like Lauren anymore. He's going to break up with her. And so, at first it's relatively harmless. And then actually, at first it's just three messages. And then 11 months go by
Wait, oh
and
yeah,
the
should we?
messages start up again.
But it starts
And
at because of Halloween.
It starts because of this Halloween party that they're supposed to go to. But I think Owen is just, I really enjoy that he's
A
such
dude.
the quintessential boy when he's like, we have no drama, there's no beef.
Yeah.
All we care about is like,
Which is what
you
made
know,
me suspicious of him.
absolutely.
I was like, maybe Owen just really, because the scene is set that this is like a couple, and this catfish and these text messages are intent on breaking them up. Like that's their goal. And so I was like, maybe Owen was just like too afraid to break up with him himself. So Owen, starting with the Halloween party, that the catfish is like, oh, Owen's going to this party without you. He must not like you that much. I was like, okay, well, this is like Owen trying to break them up because he doesn't want to. And maybe that was stupid of me. Like, and now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, maybe that is a stupid thought, but
No, I didn't think it was stupid at all. I thought, if anything, I had to really like pull myself back from judging our story, our narrators, shall we say, just because they would say things like, I really just couldn't think of anyone who it could be. And then as the story progressed, if they would introduce, more and more likely perpetrators who would be either cleared or not cleared. The evidence stacked against some of these characters is pretty damning stuff. And so when Owen and Lauren in the very beginning are like, we were racking our brains and I just couldn't come up with one single person. And then, the very first suspect is introduced and we'll get to that. And hearing the list of reasons why they thought it could be this person, you just think, why did you not immediately think that this is the person doing that? Those are all fantastic reasons. It sounds like that's exactly the person who would be sending you these messages.
mm-hmm.
So Lauren's trying to explain, Lauren tells her parents, she's talking to her mom about it and she's trying to explain her train of thought. And so I really enjoyed this quote. She's talking about the messages. This is a year later, almost a year later, 11 months later. So she says, in the new messages that I'm getting, the texter called me low. So I knew it had to be one of my friends because that's my nickname. And it's like, Lauren, girl, like show me a person named Lauren who doesn't go by Lore, Low. Like, I'm so sorry. That's not really a reach. That this person would guess your nickname is Low. And so I
Yeah.
thought that was deeply funny. And so at this point, they open it up to their friends, Owen and Lauren, and they're talking to the girls in their classes about, who could it be? And now the messages are like, Owen was loving my conversation with Christine in science class. And it's like,
Fucking crazy stuff. So it seems like it's this girl Chloe. It, from the top, um, what we know about Chloe is that she's Owen's girl best friend, which we know. Everyone knows. I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to be like a stereotypical and be like it's always the girl best friend. But they do make a good case for her, right? And
absolutely.
they Chloe's known for being a mean girl. That's sort of established. They talk about like how, and she kind of owns up to it too. Like she's very much like, she's very self-aware, and she's close to Owen. It seems like she really always liked Owen a little bit.
Yeah,
um
Chloe might be self-aware, but her parents are not. Her parents are so funny. They're like,
I loved her
we've
parents.
been called in a couple of times by the school over accusations of bullying. Chloe has a lot of friends. She has a lot of friends, and they span across a couple of schools. Some people might call her a leader, and we're really
Chloe's the
proud of
most,
her strong personality and her leadership skills. And some people are threatened, intimidated by that, maybe jealous is the
God
word.
forbid, yeah, God forbid you're the most popular girl in the county.
Basically, her parents are like, I'm so sorry, my daughter's so freaking popular, and that your
Mm-hmm.
daughter just can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And even Lauren is like, she and Chloe play on the basketball team together, and so she says, like, yeah, I don't have like issues with Chloe, but she's definitely not my favorite person. She had a crush on Owen before he and I
Mm-hmm.
started to date.
So when they were like
And
what,
then,
11 years old?
yeah, when they were basically 11, and then he and I got together, and now I feel like she talks to Owen just to like irritate me, which is just like how you
It,
feel, I think, when you're in high school. You're
and
like,
it's like pretty heavily hinted at that like Owen likes her too, a little bit, you know.
yeah, not for nothing. Owen, like, he's best friends with like all the girlies. He's like
Yeah.
girls. He's like one of the girls. He's talking to them about who he thinks it could be. He's showing them all the text messages. He's like in all the group chats with the girls. Like, Owen's not exactly like Mr. Boyfriend over here.
Mm-mm. No, if anything, it seems like they're. I mean, well, this is just like because they are so young. They are truly, basically, just friends,
Hmm.
and which leads us into the content of the text messages, shall we?
Well, yes, but before we get to the content, so this keeps going on. They start to suspect people. Um, After a while, they're never finding out who it is. This tension keeps building between Lauren and Owen, and Lauren is afraid of like inviting this person over because she doesn't know who they are. And honestly, so is Owen. And so after 13 months after the texts start back up, so at this point they've been together for about 2 years, they officially break up. But the texts are still coming. Like she's still receiving messages. And if anything, they get worse. And then I think after they break up is the first time Chloe is introduced to us as a suspect. And in the beginning, the messages are kind of like, you know, Owen doesn't want you. They're honestly they're kind of gross. They're a little
They're
bit
disgusting.
graphic.
They're like very, 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 very graphic and very like explicit, and like
Yeah.
they're like trying to say that like Owen doesn't want to be with her because she doesn't put out. Mind you, these are 14-year-olds.
They're like extremely sexual in nature, and it's like, and so on, like there's a lot of mistakes, there's a lot of like, attempts at slang, and so it's either a young person or someone who is attempting to sound like a young person.
Yeah.
But just based on like how honestly it sounds almost like a teenage boy because it's
Yeah,
so
so vulgar.
everything is so sexual.
Yeah, and
Everything.
so vulgar that like honestly that's when I was like I don't know if it's like one of the girlies because I don't really. I was a 14-year-old girl once. We certainly didn't talk like that. I don't know how much has like changed in those 5 years, but I do think that like
It ranges from like,
yeah,
don't nobody want your anorexic flat ass to I own Owen's dick. Just like,
crazy stuff like body shaming her
yeah,
for
really specific, really personal. Just, yeah, just really, really, I understand, like, obviously the advice in the beginning is ignore it, block the numbers. The numbers keep changing. They're using apps to scramble the numbers so that every time they block one, they use another one. And I imagine it's pretty easy to ignore, like, Owen's gonna break up with you. Um, he thinks you're ugly, you suck, whatever. But some of the really sexual graphic ones that are just, it's like you can only ignore that for so long before it's like,
and I think though
man,
I think the nature of the because the text messages were so vulgar, I think like that's why the police and like the principal and the parents were all so concerned because like this wasn't just like your run of the mill like
creep.
cyber bullying like shit between kids like oh like you like little stuff like this. Like not only was this extremely persistent, it was also extremely vulgar and persistent at the same time. So it was like someone who like it's clear from the beginning that whoever is doing it, there's something very, 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 very wrong with them.
There's also just like the sheer number of messages. At this point, now that they're broken up, the number is climbing to like hundreds of messages a day, starting as soon as the kids wake up, all throughout the day. Like you can't get 2 minutes apiece. So we get to a basketball game. Lauren is on the girls' basketball team. Luckily, like nobody watches girls' basketball, so that really helps narrow it down. And she was getting messages about the way she was playing during one of the games, almost taunting her, like, you know, you should have played better. You missed that easy layup, blah, blah, blah. And one of the messages specifically mentions the score. Like you didn't score as many players as the center. And her mom is, I think, the coach of the volleyball team and also the volunteer scorekeeper for the basketball team. And so Lauren plays on the volleyball team with like Chloe and her two friends, and she plays on the basketball team with it, I think just Chloe. And so her mom, who keeps the score, goes back and looks, and the only player who scored 12 points is Chloe. And so they start to take a closer look at her as like a serious suspect because of all these other reasons. You know, she had this interest in Owen. She and Lauren, well, there's no like rivalry per se, they're not close.
Hmm.
The Halloween party, which is when all this started, it was
Chloe was
hosted by her
there.
family.
Yeah.
And so at first, I think all that happens is Owen asks her. She says it wasn't me. Her parents get involved. They resent being brought in. They resent the accusation, frankly. Um, but I think as the two parents, Kendra is Lauren's mom, and I can't recall Owen's mother's name. But as the two parents get more and
Oh,
more
and they're
upset,
best friends too. Like,
oh, they're really good friends,
yeah, Lauren's mom and Owen's mom are best friends. Best
and
buds.
their dads are kind of good friends. They start to do stuff together. But as these two moms start to implore other parents and put pressure on the school to look through their kids' phones. To Chloe's parents' credit, they do. Like they look through
Hmm.
her phone.
I
They
thought
don't
that was
find
huge.
anything.
I thought it was huge that, and it's not just, there's another girl too. I forget her name, but her mom goes through her phone too. And I do think like good on the parents for like being like, okay, yeah, like it
This
could
is
be
too
my, for
far.
them being like, it could be my kid, and I'm willing to like go through my kid's stuff just to like make sure it's not them. I thought that was like, I thought that was really good on the parents.
No, I totally agree. It's like I think trusting your child is one thing. Everyone should, but the parents everyone should if they can. But I think when the two moms come to you repeatedly, I think it was a member of Chloe's friend group is the other person who had their phone gone through, and the moms just kept coming back and saying, we have this reason, we have that reason to believe that it's your child. And the mom was like, yeah, okay. My daughter said she didn't do it, but she's 16 and 16-year-olds lie. So,
Sophie.
let me see your phone.
Her name's Sophie. Sophie's the other girl whose mom went through her phone. And I think Sophie and Chloe are like close friends, something like that. But yeah.
There's one
In my
more.
notes
Chloe
I
has
said,
like two girls. It's like her and Sophie.
yeah, in my notes I said Sophie's mom goes through her phone. Kudos to her.
Kudos. That's very sweet. No, but it is. It's like, a lot of people are like, if she said no, then she didn't do it. But it's like, okay, but also, like, really serious stuff is going down at this point. So,
Also,
like,
then we another suspect we meet is Owen's um cousin, Ariana.
I think it's Adriana.
And we meet her, and she becomes like, seems like she could be a suspect because she was bullied by Chloe and it's like, I think Sophie maybe. And so it's people, they start to wonder if like maybe Adriana did this so that Chloe would look bad because Chloe had been so awful to her.
So they go through Chloe's phone. Her parents don't find anything. Chloe dumps her phone. It's dumped by the police. Like a full forensic
Dump.
copy is made of her phone. They can't find a thing. They continue to get messages. But this time, the texter kind of overestimates their ability to play the kids. And so they're still speaking as Chloe, but they're like taunting them. Like the police went through my phone and they didn't find a thing. And the kids are like, well, that doesn't really seem like something you would do. And so, then they start sending pictures as Chloe, and it just no longer works that they believe that that's something that anybody would do. And so Chloe's that kind of gets Chloe cleared of all charges, even though during this process they're like, and Chloe's dad's a cop, so she's definitely getting away with it.
Yeah, and they're like,
Um,
come on now.
and so then they get this picture while they're trying to frame Chloe, and it's Owen's phone case on Christmas morning, and the cops. Oh no, they didn't get that picture. The cop went through all the old photos. He did his job. He dug through all the texts and he said, "Who could have had access to your house on Christmas morning?" And Owen's mom said, there's only one family member in Owen's class who could have
Yeah.
been there, and it's Adriana. And so I went, fuck, not another cousin
Yeah.
after Sweet Bobby.
After she Bobby were scarred, I'm never looking at my cousins the same. Like, yeah,
I'm like,
no.
keep it cordial, keep it clean, keep it
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah, so we were like, oh, of course, as sweet Bobby heads like we are, we were like, of course it's a cousin. Of course, cause a weird cousin
Getting vibes from her that are not normal. She's very like
getting poor
pick me
cousin.
about her feelings.
Sorry. Forgive us, cousin. Forgive us, cousin.
No, but she's
It
like,
was a documentary and these people that pointed their finger at you,
well,
not
but
us.
she's also very like, the cops are treating me like I'm guilty. And it's like, girl, have you ever heard of the cops before? You know what I mean? Like, she took that really personally. And it's like, that's what they
That's like
do.
their job. Sorry. Like
Like,
that's
that's like,
their whole
what did you
thing.
expect?
Yeah. Um but yeah, and I already mentioned like why they thought it could be Adriana because she had, a history with Chloe and Sophie. So all signs
And
start
then
pointing to her. And they also, yeah, they figured it as we already just said. They're pretty sure that the catfish isn't Chloe, even though the catfish is still pretending to be Chloe.
And not for nothing, some of the theories are kind of outrageous. There's one girl in the beginning who's introduced just as a classmate. I think she's in no other way part of the story. She's there, I think, just so she can later provide the line. And this is like 5 minutes into the doc. Um, yeah, honestly, Lauren really kept to herself. There was a time when I thought, okay, yeah, maybe she's sending herself the messages just to keep things interesting between her and Owen. And it was like,
Absolutely. That's like I forgot about that. Like really early in the documentary, there's this random girl who's like, maybe she just wanted the attention.
it's like, girl, why are you even in this documentary? This
They
is
needed
not
her to
your
they needed
story.
her to say it. They're like, someone has to say this.
They're like, all right, who's willing to go on camera and
And
say
say
this?
this. Like,
And she said, I'm here.
hey, I don't know if this like occurred to anyone else, but anyone else thinking that like
Did
maybe
anybody
she's
ever think that like maybe Lawrence just
yeah
some of the messages are like suck finger fuck like
crazy
you know
I feel sick even like hearing it again. Like this
no like
like a grown woman was like clutching my
and it's
pearls.
like the fact that this other girl was like yeah she's probably sending it to herself.
It's crazy. It's crazy. This stuff is like so crazy. And like also like why would she be outing herself like this? Like
No, truly.
all of the
And
things
also, why would she keep it going after he broke up with her?
I don't know. It's so fucking crazy. All right. But yeah, no, that I forgot about that girl saying that.
I really liked that theory.
Yeah,
Really liked it.
she was crazy for that.
But anyway, Adriana gets cleared because, and honestly, she looks like she's really going down for it too. But then, like, for no reason at all, she gets a text saying, like, keep your mouth shut, I guess. And then this like terrifies her. She like bursts into tears. She was like, I was paralyzed. I got so scared. And it's like, why? Nobody's met this person. Like, the
This
worst
person,
thing.
what we do know is that they're a fucking loser because they
Yeah,
have
what we know is that they're a loser coward and that they're in no way
like
physically violent.
in the same way with like Sweet Bobby, we're like, okay, well, what we do, we were like, well, what we do
They
know is
didn't
that
even speak.
we were like, what we do know is that they don't have a life because anyone who has
These
this much
people are
time on their
cowards.
hands does not have a life. Like they have to be a loser just to just to clock in like they are. Like because they're this catfish is clocking in for this bullying shift, you know? So they're not busy doing anything else. So how scary can they actually be? They're not like A was scary. This is not
I had a
scary.
team.
Yeah, no. A was like actually scary and like nefarious. This person this person is clearly just a pervert.
That would make me feel way better. I'd be like, oh, it's fine. This is just some perv. It's giving.
Like it is. Like it's literally just some perv.
So this all comes to a head. There's this girl. I have no idea how they met. I think some baseball tournament in pinconning. And Owen meets this new girl. They talk. I honestly think they get a good like 2 or 3 months of the talking stage
Mm-hmm.
before
The catfish gets pissed.
the catfish finds out and Owen gets a text from this girl saying, "Hey, my mom just got a text from this unknown number. Do you know anything about that?" And he's like, "Well, what does it say?" And she says like, whatever it says that I'm a fugly slut or, and that I need to stay away from her man or
Have
something
you ever
like
heard
that.
of this?
And
Is
he's like,
like
yeah, I guess I know about that.
this is the point where poor Owen has to be like, yeah, by the way, I'm kind of haunted in a way. I don't want to get too specific because I don't want to, because I'm, when I say things that like sound so declarative and then they're not true, but I do think that like this is probably what happens like when like really famous people get into relationships. I imagine that the person they're allegedly dating would probably get like the weirdest fucking like DMs and like
Starstruck.
messages and like stuff like that. Like how like, like famous people when they date regular people, those poor regular people are put through absolute hell.
I mean, like
This is
the stars of Love Island when they come back to real
yeah,
life.
this is like very much what it's giving. Like someone is like so upset. Like also at this point in the doc, like where it's obvious that the catfish it wasn't necessarily about their like Lauren and Owen. It's about Owen.
It's
It
about
is
Owen.
absolutely about this obsession with Owen. The catfish, I mean, hates Lauren. I don't know if we mentioned that the catfish told Lauren to like fucking kill herself, which is
And it's like they'll
crazy.
tell Lauren like kill yourself, bitch. Nobody wants you here. But then they'll be like jump off a bridge. Like it's like not just one time, it's like specific and it's like and I think Lauren at one point does respond because if you text the catfish back, they'll respond to you. It's just like a waste of your time. That's one thing that I think is really funny. Usually like a catfish won't respond to
Yeah,
you.
A
This
would have never.
catfish does.
A would have never responded.
A would have never entertained. A would respond only to like make a plan to meet. This catfish is like they would call and they'd be like, "Lo, ain't nobody picking up your." It's like, you know what I mean?
This
Like,
catfish is the loneliest catfish we've seen yet, which is saying a
and
lot.
so sassy, like so
Oh
sassy.
yeah, like this is a really mean catfish too. At least Simran was nice and sweet Bobby.
No, truly. So this thing happens in Pinconning, and that's it. That's the last straw. While this is happening, concurrently, the police officer who was investigating, he had reached out a few weeks ago, I think, to the FBI because he felt like he lacked the resources. He had tapped out all available resources at his disposal, and the FBI.
Gets involved because it is important to note that I feel like we're like wow the FBI it's like yeah the FBI this person is literally sexually harassing children over the phone
Stalking them.
relentlessly. So like yeah the FBI it's not like some
Yeah.
like this ain't no regular catfish like
No,
it's
it's
not
like
like regular cyberbullying it's worse.
hours and hours and hours. And it's like so relentless. It's just crazy. So Lauren finally responds, like, you win. Like, what is it going to take for you to stop? And basically, the catfish is like, kill yourself. So um,
Crazy, so
the
crazy.
FBI is able to forensically run, they have to get a bunch of warrants for the data for these third-party apps that scramble the numbers. Once they do that, they're able to get I think email addresses that are connected to oh no, they were able to get the IP addresses. So they were of all the
All
hotspots
the
where all
devices.
the messages were sent, um, and they were able to see what numbers were connected to
It's yeah the where they were able to do it's something called I don't know if this is like the antiquated term but back in the day they're called pings. So like basically like cops and like the FBI has like a technology that like tracks where things are coming from. So like they could track like where my computer is if I send out a text message. They can like they know it pins to a location. Like we drop
Ooh,
pins now for fun, but like
for fun.
there's
I
like
love that.
everything you send, no matter how many what are they called? Like IP address scamblers, no matter how many what's the thing where you
No
like
matter how great your VPN is.
yeah, no matter how good your VPN is, no matter that like you if you're sending something, it can be tracked to you. It might take a while, as it did in this case. You can make it a little harder, but like if the FBI wants to find you, they'll
Hmm.
find you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for this catfish, that's what happened because they could see that all of these messages were coming from the same different numbers, different devices, but unfortunately the same location.
So all these things are traced back to one number that it's all registered to, one phone, I guess, that is being used for all these third-party apps. So even though it's been scrambled and disguised, um, one,
It's so unbelievable that like it's crazy to even say it. And I
it's
want to
like,
say that like I consider myself to be a little bit smart and like pretty good at like following and guessing. Nothing, nothing, and this could be my naivete. Nothing could have prepared me for who the catfish was. Ooh, like I literally felt like a chill run down my spine. It's so fucking crazy.
I think the reason people are having such a hard time with this one, myself included, yourself included, is because it's so against nature.
That, and I want to say that like from the opening scene of the documentary, you learn like how sweet and how kind and how meek and gentle Lauren is. So like you think like, oh, it's got to
Who
be
would
some
do this? It's
who
like
would do that,
unnatural
like
for you to.
who would do this to someone who is so clearly kind, which is probably like, I mean, that's probably why a lot of people get targeted by catfish because they're like such kind people. But yeah, so like not only are you like getting to know how sweet Lauren is this whole documentary and like getting to know all of the parents, you're like, okay, like, man, whoever's doing this is depraved. And
Mhm.
then you find out that the phone, because of the technology that lets you know where things are coming from, even if you like can't figure out like the exact phone, but like you could find out the location, and they come to find out that the catfish messages are coming from Lauren's home because, unfortunately for Lauren, and to the absolute shock of this entire country, Lauren's mother is who is revealed to be the catfish. I want to
Dun
read.
dun dun.
I have to read you my notes from when I found this out.
Please.
First of all, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, 12 question marks. And then I say her in capital letters, mother,
No.
question mark, dot, dot, dot. I could not believe it. Oh, so, okay. So we find this out. So the cops knock.
The way we find, yeah, so it's a body cam. It's not Netflix recording for this part because it's a real video from when it actually happened years ago. It's the cops' body cam footage from 2019.
Mhm. And so you get to watch it all, them show up to Lauren's house.
And there should have been a social worker there. Absolutely.
Absolutely. At least someone from Child Protective Services. No such case. Anyways, it's a small town. We have to give them a
So the
break.
cop gets there and it's just Kendra and Lauren. The husband is not there. I'm sure
He's
the
at work.
cops are at this point not sure how much he knows. So Mark is at work when they get there. The cop is like, "Who's home?" She's like, "It's just me and Lauren." Mark's at the office, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna need you to come inside." They go in. Lauren stays in her room, and the officer lets Kendra know that she's been found out, and he knows that it's her number. At first she denies it. She doesn't believe it's possible. He he lets her know that the FBI has been involved in the case and that they have a good amount of evidence and that he has a warrant to search the home. Asks her if she has just one cell phone or any more devices. She's like, I have one phone. He nods. He's like, I'm gonna need that from you. So she gives him her phone, and basically she's pretty cool with what most of what he has to say until he says, obviously, we're going to need to let Lauren know. And then Kendra's like, no, we're going to need to find a way to do this where Lauren doesn't know that I did this. And the cop is like, well, Lauren's going to have to know. And also, some of the other girls that were involved are going to have to know because like they were falsely accused. And Kendra's really upset by this. She's like, that's going to make it so hard for Lauren to go to school. And it's like,
Maybe you should
how
have thought of this before that,
and also,
Kendra.
how the hell do you think school's been? According to you, she cries every morning before school because she's so upset about these
It is
messages.
the weirdest like munch. I don't know. I think one of the detectives is also like, is this Munchausen's by proxy in like the weirdest way we've seen yet? because
It's
like that
so
is
bizarre.
kind of what it gives. And like the perpetual victimhood of Kendra is wild. Like she, from this point on now, like it shifts. Even though we know these children are her victims, it's now going the whole narrative of the documentary. Also, by the way, I think it's important to note that when you're watching this documentary, Kendra is being interviewed the entire time and talking about who they thought it might be, how awful it was for her daughter,
She's
how
shown just like
concerned the
Owen's
parents
mom.
are. She's shown just like all of the other parents the whole time. The whole time. Like she's so good at playing this role that she could redo it for the documentary. It was crazy. She's like, "Yeah, we were so worried about them. It was so strange and bizarre and blah 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 blah." So I don't know what I don't know. I would love to know her diagnosis, but anyways,
I've seen a lot of tweets saying, it's really disgusting that Netflix would give a platform to this predator and all these things, and I hear that, and I do think that they have a point. However, what I would say to that in rebuttal is the function of Netflix and this documentary is to inform, yes, but also and primarily to entertain.
mm-hmm,
And I think the most entertaining part and the most shocking part was Kendra's, confessional part. Like, especially, Kendra sits down, you see her burst into tears and then kind of come back into herself. Like once it's revealed that Kendra is the texter, she sits down in the chair again and you kind of see her in a new light for the first time as this guilty person. And then she has the chance to sort of speak about what's happened for the first time, and her explanation,
it's so fucking crazy.
unbelievable, and it's so funny and so entertaining. She's like, a lot of people do what I've done, bad things. People drunk drive every day and they don't get caught for it. A lot of people do what I do and they simply aren't caught. And so instead of, maybe you think I'm a bad mom or whatever, but instead, yeah, we think you're a bad mom. Like, are
also,
you kidding
I do
me?
want to start say that she says that the reason why she started doing this is because she wanted to find. So the first text that we talked about in the beginning, the Halloween text, we don't know who sent that. There was someone out there trying to fuck with their relationship. That is a real thing. Kendra says that that made her really suspicious, and she was suspicious that her daughter and or these other girls knew who that person who sent that first text message was, and so she started doing this as a means of trying to get more information out of them. And it's clear that at some point, okay, first of all, you have to be kind of rotted in the head to like even have that idea, but like second of all, like it becomes very clear that she became addicted to the game of it all. Like it's so clear. There's two things that are really disturbing about Kendra. One is that she clearly has a strange sexual fascination with this 14-year-old boy, Owen. And the documentary does kind of get into that. The second is that she clearly becomes addicted to the like thrill of it all. Like she's really into the thrill of it all. And yeah, and I think that like, yeah, Netflix does serve to entertain, but I do think that like if this did anything, it's going to make parents think a little bit harder about who their kids are texting. Show parents how easy it is to like pretend to be someone else on the internet and fuck with people. And third of all, and I think perhaps most importantly, and like anyone who like has ever done any like research or work into like sexual assault victims, it's really really likely that it's someone you know. And so I also think that like this serves to show that like you can't really trust your kids with anyone except for you as the parent. And like I feel like that really emphasized that, because like these were parents that like trusted this woman with their children. And I just think it really, I think, it's important for parents to really really think hard and like have suspicion, a natural healthy amount of suspicion towards other parents, because other parents can cause your children harm. And I do
And I'm
think,
sure Owen's parents were plenty suspicious,
yeah,
but listening to Owen at the very end, and at this point, that they're exes who did not get back together, because in the beginning, that's not clear. And I think that's intentional, that you're not sure what their status is. And at the end, they're not together and they don't talk.
which is
But
so sad. Like Lauren,
no, it is. Lauren
poor
gets
Lauren. Like
the
Lauren
rawest
has it
deal in all
so
this.
bad. Not only is she trapped with her abuser, she lost everything. It,
But Owen says, like, I just can't believe that a mom would do this, like, to me, but also to her own daughter.
Yeah.
Uh, because he recognizes that their abuse is very different. Lauren's is much more, Owen's is like predatory and sexual, and Lauren's is like cruel and abusive. Like one
Yeah.
person is, having these mature sexual leering thoughts, grooming thoughts forced on them, and your own daughter you're telling to jump off a bridge. Another thing is I really love that Netflix interviewer asks Kendra, did you have any concern for your daughter? Were you worried she'd harm herself? Knowing that she was getting these messages, knowing that you were sending these messages, and she goes, people might not like this answer, but no. Lauren and I talk often, and I know who she is, and she wasn't. And it's like, girl, she responded like, you win. Like whatever it takes to make this stop, I'll do it. And it's like, did you not see how beat down that girl
Oh
was? Like
yeah, it's like
you
it's
did
so
that.
jarring to watch like Lauren find out because her mom is like crying and hugging her. Like, can you imagine finding out the person that's been fucking terrorizing you is your mother, and then your mother is like crying and trying to comfort you, the same mother that like that was comforting you the whole time, knowing it was them. Like, just absolutely heebie-jeebies. So should we get into like the what's her name? What's Lauren's mom? The Kendra of it all, because this isn't like Kendra's like only lie. She's lying about everything.
Yeah, she lies about everything.
So the dad comes home because he gets called in from work because the police are like, sorry, like the kid needs an actual parent here because
The police are like, hey, we figured it out. We know who did it. And
yeah,
Mark is like, hell yeah. So he
he's
leaves work
happy
and
about it.
he's like, whoop, whoop, I'm gonna get home and this is gonna be cool.
I'm gonna find out who has been harassing my child. I can't wait to find out. Well, he finds out that it's his
Well,
wife,
he gets
and
home and he finds
he
out.
sure does. And he's like, he's kind of like the first one that I feel like really is like, wait a minute, like how much time did you have to be doing all of this? Because like the time of it all is also like what's extremely bizarre about it. And then he like puts two and two together, and he's like, are you lying about like the job, your job too?
I think
Like
the
it.
police maybe even told him because the police told Mark that she was let go from her. She was supposed to be in the tech department at a nearby university.
Mhm.
And the police were like, well, I heard she was let go from that job months ago. And Mark said, what are you talking about? I haven't heard about that. And the police was like, yeah, I checked with HR before I came here. And that's what my friend who works there said. And then he goes inside to confront Kendra, who he sees like crying and hugging his daughter. And he's like shocked. He's like, so you haven't had a job in like 2 years? Like, you're the one who's been bullying our daughter.
Like we're in dire straits financially, and you
Yeah,
have
we're
been,
gonna lose the house. And
instead
they've
of
already moved
working,
like 3 or 4 times in
yeah,
the past
instead
couple
they're
of
like their
years.
house is being foreclosed on, uh
Again,
and all of this time that you could have been on Craigslist looking, I don't know, not Craigslist, what's it called, on Indeed looking for a job,
yeah.
you have been sitting at home sexually and verbally harassing children. You've
All this
got
time
to
you could have
be,
been helping
you've
me
got to
bail us out.
you've got to be kidding me. And
It's
he gets really
insane.
really angry and has perhaps the most rational reaction that we've seen so far, and tells her to get out of the house.
Yes. He's like, you gotta go. And
You
she's
gotta
like, I don't
go.
want to go. He's like, you gotta go right now while this cop is here. Give me your phone. We are calling your parents. And she's like,
Yeah.
I can't be away from Lauren right now. She needs me. And he's like, okay, well, maybe you should have thought about that before, you know?
And she didn't. I don't know. So then we start to get to know her. We meet her. Is it her older sister or her like friend
I think
from?
it's her cousin. We get one person who's willing to advocate for Kendra, and it's like,
And
I
by
think it's
advocate
her
we mean
aunt's
read
daughter.
for filth.
Yeah, it's
Read
her
for read.
cousin, and like she barely has anything good to say.
Nothing good to say really. Like she
So
gives her
the
like
cop leaves. Before we get into that, the cop leaves and he says, Miss Lauren, I'm sorry I had to knock on your door today. I hope y'all find a path. He drops the biggest
one
atomic
thing I would
bomb
say.
you've ever seen on their life and says, I hope y'all find a path.
One thing I'll say is I do think that like child services should have been involved. I think that like, and I think it's because like these types of crimes, and we talked about this with Sweet Bobby as well, is that catfishing is such a new thing that like we really don't know how to like prosecute it or like discipline or like punish people for it because it is so bizarre. And it's not it like doesn't happen in person. It's like she didn't put hands on anyone. So like it's really, really hard to like figure out like what should be done. But I do think that like her being left with her, or like her mom not being like told that she has to leave her daughter alone
Right.
indefinitely is kind of like negligent.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, she's gonna be 18 relatively soon, but so yes, her cousin, her older cousin is willing to speak about how, she used to be different. And so they talk about a good time they had on a cruise ship together once, basically.
Well, she sort of like gets into like this idea that like one thing about Kendra is that she is obsessed with being the center of attention. Like she talks about her like always wanting to dance and like have everyone watch her, like dancing on tabletops, being very, very, very into attention, like at all, like for everything. And so then you're like, it sort of starts to like frame her, and these are two Leos right now, and even us are like, this is this is attention
Dial
wise.
it back, girl.
Start a podcast, girl. That is so crazy to like. So it does seem, it sort of posits this theory that it was an attention thing, and that's fine. I am more of the theory that she was infatuated with Owen, and we kind of get, is it Owen's mom who talks about how like Kendra would like always comment on Owen and always like go out of her way to, oh no, it's Owen.
Owen's mom mentions that Kendra made it a point to stay in contact with Owen, like not as a catfish, as herself.
Mm-hmm.
Even years after the breakup, just to like check in on him and like say hi and how are things. And it's like, honestly, that's a little weird, just kind of unnecessary. Um, no, there's no reason for you to be
Yeah,
texting.
it's weird for a grown woman to
Yeah,
be going
as
out
an
of the way to
adult, there's
text
no
her
reason for you to be texting your daughter's ex-boyfriend.
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, especially with all the anonymous messaging going on.
And Owen
Um,
says that like she always gave him like a ton of compliments and like would go out of her way to like give Owen attention. And so that makes you really, and then in light of the things she said, that's the sexual stuff, you're like, all right, if I'm putting two and two together, it almost, and the hatred that she had towards Owen's new girlfriend, towards her daughter, like the
mhm.
common denominator is like this anger at
Owen.
Owen giving attention to other girls.
And when she talks about her trauma, Kendra says, like, people don't understand why I did this, but my daughter is approaching puberty. And when I went through puberty, not that this is an excuse, she says before she uses this as an excuse, but I was raped and I was really afraid of something like that happening to my daughter. And so I felt like in a warped way, I was protecting her. And it's like, hold on, hold on, hold on. That is something that has happened to a lot of women, and it's horrific and inexcusable. However, almost nobody but you has done this.
Yep.
So I'm gonna need you to take that excuse right out of your repertoire and just throw it in the
Like
trash.
we're sorry that happened to you, but that nothing excuses your behavior towards these children. Nothing.
Absolutely
Like
not.
not
You
even
you
that,
could have gone
Kendra.
to therapy.
Like the time she spent, like yeah, I it's just so disturbing.
You
I
could have
think they
cyberbullied somebody else's child.
at some point they mentioned there's like over 380 pages of text messages. Pages of text messages. Oh, she got arrested, right?
Yeah, I think she got a year and a half, up to a year and a half. She was probably released before then with good behavior, but her sentence, I think, was a year and a half
Yeah. And should have been
because it was
longer.
like stalking and harassment.
And I do feel like she's like these were it's not like this is regular stalking her and harassment. She was stalking and harassing children.
And also your own child, like you're missing some kind of maternal
There's
instinct, I
something
think.
there's
Something's wrong
something's
there,
wrong with her.
you know?
Okay, so this is what brings me to what I think Kendra needed. Kendra needed to be obsessed into some fandom and should have been just like writing fan fiction or something. Because like it's clear to me that like she is obsessed with the character of these children's lives and she sort of like used them as like little chess pieces and like characters to like fuck with and like get illicit reactions out of and like manipulate and like be cruel to. And I just think that like she needed I don't know if I've ever seen someone who needed, well, Simran. She and Simran need to start some type of group.
She's
Um
trying to reheat Club Chalamet's nachos.
yeah, like I just think yeah, she needed
I think that's exactly what she needs.
yeah, she
She would have
needs
loved the Harry Styles, the Harry, what is it? Larry Styleson.
yeah, she needs that she's clearly a parasocial person. She needs the parasocial ness of like a toxic fandom so badly. Obviously she was like doing this as like to escape from her miserable everyday life. Like only miserable people do stuff like this. Um so I just she truly needed a
When
hobby.
I can't afford gems on the Love Island games.
I've never played them.
Good for you. Again, jobless behavior.
No, I was like jobless all last year, and I mean, I just at least you're doing something. See, you're doing that instead of you could be catfishing children.
Exactly.
This
Like
is
I would, I could live 1,000 lives and
and
never
like
run out of things to do
yeah,
before I
exactly.
decided to catfish children.
There's
Like
so much you can do. Write fan fiction,
there's so many instruments to learn how to play.
make TikTok edits. There's so much to do.
Like, girl.
Read a
And it's not
book,
even like, oh, the wealth barrier. Like, I can think of economically friendly things to do that
jump
aren't like
jump
she could have
rope.
been a scammer. Your family needs money. You're obviously great on the computer, not bothered by ethics.
She should have been running scams.
Dead ass.
Yeah, no. And if I'm sure Owen has a restraining order against this woman, but yeah, I can't
It's like,
imagine
you think
how.
his relationship with women is going to be normal? I hope so, but
Also, like
probably
Chloe's
not.
parents being like she framed their daughter.
Oh, I
Like,
know. I would be like, I probably wouldn't forgive her. I'd be ass
oh
mad.
no,
Like, that
there's
was
that.
very
But
intentional.
what she did to all of these kids is unforgivable. There's a special place in hell. I'm telling you.
Adults playing in children business, man. Like, what
So
are we doing?
so scary. So
Not over it.
yeah,
Never gonna be
I'm
over
not
it.
over. I'm still not over it. I'm gonna be thinking about this like for ages. In fact, I need to make my mom watch it.
I made my mom watch it immediately.
Yeah, I need my mom to watch this because she's
I
gonna
was
be like,
gagged. And I think at the end, CM and I were talking about it and we were like, oh my God, I can't believe she forgave her mom. That is so crazy. And then I was like, I mean, if my mom said she's sorry,
yeah.
you
Then
know what
I say stuff like that. And I'm like, if my mommy did like, I get it. We're both mommy's girls, so like I do get it.
No, truly.
Yeah,
Like my
poor
mom would never,
my mom
and
would
CM's
never.
mom would
My
never.
mom would never. And also, if my mom found out that this had happened to me, she would probably catch a case from beating the person who did it to me.
100%.
Undoubtedly.
My
Undoubtedly,
mom would definitely,
Kendra would have caught some hands if it had been my mom. Undoubtedly. I've no doubt about that. My mom would have she goes blind with rage. She would have driven over
it
to
would have
that
been an
house.
issue. It would have been a major
Yep.
issue,
Yep.
especially like the really sexual messages. Like my mom would have shut my account down.
Yeah.
And like I remember criticizing the parents for putting pressure on the school when CM and I watched it because I was like, well, this isn't really a school. You know what I mean? Like, yes, somebody should do something, but
Mm-hmm.
the school
Yeah.
is a place of learning. My mom would have been up the administration's
Yep.
booty until they figured out who did this. They would have been like, you need to have solved this problem yesterday. I
Yeah.
can't believe you're letting. And it's like the whole time you're the person harassing me. Like,
I mean the fact I wonder how much like I guess I know of all ironically of all the parents, it did seem like Kendra perhaps cared the least, which is like crazy because her daughter was affected the most.
the
But
fact
I
that
mean
Kendra was like, I'm handling it.
yeah, so I don't know. I'm still not over it. I think that's crazy. It really do be your own mother. Like that's, and also I will. The other theory I had, is that, it was like an extreme jealousy of her daughter. That like she was jealous that like she was young and skinny and like because she talks about her body all the time
Mm.
and like she's jealous that she has like this relationship with like this sweet boy Owen and like wanted to ruin that. And then I was like, yeah, but also that is just further complicated by the fact that she continues to harass and stalk Owen. So it goes even beyond that for sure.
Kendra's just like mad, ungrateful, and unsatisfied with her life because maybe Mark isn't like everybody's dream guy, but he obviously loves his family and
Mm-hmm.
he's handsome and he works
Mm-hmm.
hard. I don't understand why she's not. I mean, if she's a pervert who loves children, that's why she's not happy with what she has. But if it's just like a lack of attention thing, um,
It's like a weird. I
it
think she
seems like
what.
she has like a great husband. So I honestly I feel awful for Lauren, but I feel so bad for Mark too.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
he
it,
seems
it
like
was giving really weird midlife crisis as well.
yeah, it really
So
was. It's like I feel awful for him that he is like, yeah, we're trying to solve this crime, and no matter what we do, we can't figure it out. And it's like,
I also think it's a good the Netflix show is a good warning to like people who do stuff like this. Like you will be found out. Like I always like this one TikTok I saw this girl was talking about like people who leave hate comments and like say hateful things to people publicly. Like if someone wanted to find you, they could. Like you, no one cannot like you. Anything you have said on the internet or through a phone can be tracked and traced back to you. It's just a matter of how motivated the person is to find you out. And so I also think this like serves as a good warning that like you can take every precaution. You can use every commercially available like number scrambling, IP dress changing, like
mm,
they will find you, you will be found, like you will be found, the FBI will find you, so yeah, I think also that's a good
make
warning
sure
for
you
like
really
maybe
mean
like
it.
someone who's like harassing someone was watching this documentary and was like, yeah, maybe I should stop because like if this
And maybe
person,
they deleted what they were typing, and they were
yeah,
like, maybe this isn't
yeah,
that much fun.
so like I do think it's important as we like learn better internet etiquette as we move forward and as we get more policed online, that like every comment you leave, everything you say, someone can find you if they want to. And you should just like maybe keep that in mind before you make it you insult someone's podcast or something.
No, that's so true. Like, as we know better, we do better. Like, maybe you should make sure that the hosts aren't like really good looking and smart and funny before you like say something that you don't mean.
Yeah, you might just think really hard about like perhaps they have connections that you don't know about that could.
No, exactly. I am a huge fan of Owen's mom. Like, I think she's
Mhm.
so down to earth, so great. She clearly loves her son, but Sam and I were talking about this. Like, she does not put him on a pedestal in the sense that, like, there's boy moms who are like sniffing their son's shirts before they go in the
Yeah,
washer. Like,
he has a she's so normal. He has such a
she's
good
not doing
mom.
any of that. She's like, he's just like a normal teenage boy.
which
I
is
don't know why this
why
woman got so obsessed.
which is why she's like, it's weird that like Kendra was so obsessed with him, like my just like my little normal boy, like this is weird. So yeah, that was good as well, as opposed to like some boy moms being like, no, I get it, girl.
No, exactly. Like, who wouldn't be? And it's like, that's
No,
bad, 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 bad.
Owen's mom is like, Owen, what are you, like
Him,
what? Like come on.
that kid, he
Yeah,
doesn't change his socks. You know what I mean? She's just like,
yeah,
she's like what boy moms used to be
yeah, a
before
normal.
they all got so like, my son is the best ever. And it's like, love your son, be
She
supportive, but
was great
like,
representation for normal boy moms, which
yes, but like also be realistic about like, let's be realistic about who we are.
and like yeah, and like also like do take note of like people giving your kid more attention than they should be
He
giving
can
them.
probably cut his own steak. Probably.
Yeah, yeah, so weird. Okay, well, I'm still not over it.